What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another episode of the Ricky Widmer Show right here on MVP Sports. Got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Going to be talking some baseball. Going to be diving into the world of hockey for the first time on the show. And then we've got some big football news coming up as well with a little dash of NBA in the middle. Before I get into everything, though, remember, as always, hit that like button if you like what you see today, what you hear today. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you love it, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. If you want to be in tune for every time I post a video on this channel, got the Ricky Widmer Show, going to have other videos as well, kind of doing a slow roll as I get my toes back into the YouTube game. But let's start off with our baseball for today, as I am a very happy man. As some of you know, if you're new to the channel, you don't know, I'm a Cubs fan. I've been a Cubs fan almost my entire life. Started out as a White Sox fan in my youth, just because everyone was Sox fans that I knew. Then my dad's like, wait a second, I gotta take you to Wrigley. Took me to Wrigley. I've been a Cub fan ever since the age, what was that, age 6, maybe 7? I think it was like 5 or 6 is when I finally turned over to the good side, to the right side of the rivalry. But Cubs making a splash today. Cubs signing Cody Bellinger to a 1-year, $17.5 million deal, which first off is a little bit less than, from everywhere that I was seeing about today, a little bit less than what he could have got with the Dodgers. And it's only 1 year, which everyone is saying the same thing. Everyone's thinking, oh, this is a prove it type of deal. Hey, I'm going to take a prove it deal, a year with the Cubs, and then, hey, if I do well, I can potentially sign a bigger deal next offseason. For the Cubs, this is great. We get a guy like Cody Bellinger. We're also in the market for Carlos Correa. So now that we have Bellinger, if we can get Carlos Correa, that makes our team even better, even though I will say, side note, I am still mad that we traded Chris Bryant, that we traded Anthony Rizzo, that we sold our entire World Series team because, yeah, we just wanted to get rid of them. Now the owners, now the Ricketts, they want to win all of a sudden. But at least they're going to open the pocketbooks a little bit and sign a guy like Cody Bellinger and look for a Carlos Correa, because they kind of realize that the fans kind of want to see the team win. Yes, we were the lovable losers, but we've kind of grown a little bit of a custom to winning. So it's nice to see them open the pocketbooks. For the Cubs, it's a good deal. You know, this gives you the year, even if Cody's thinking, hey, I want to just prove it, you can sell him on the team this year. You get him in the locker room, you get him in that clubhouse every day. Hopefully by the end of the year, he's performed well and you want to re-sign him, and he's like, hey, I love being here. The flip side, if he doesn't do well and you're like, wow, this has been a train wreck, oh, at the end of the year, adios, we tried to make it work. But this is a great decision, great ad for the Cubs, potentially an excellent bat, I'll get into that in 1 second, and a lockdown defender in center field. We needed some help in center field. We now have it in Cody Bellinger. When it comes to his bat, I say excellent potentially because this is a guy that former NL Rookie of the Year, former MVP. I think that same MVP season, he was a Silver Slugger. And this guy has the potential to be a viable bat, a great bat, excellent bat in this lineup. It's just right now, my opinion is that he's overthinking it. I heard something on The Score, I want to say it was, where right now they mentioned like he's tweaking so much with his swing. I think Cody needs to get out of his own head, and that's where I think David Ross might be a good manager to kind of get him out of that head. Hey, don't overthink it. Kind of do the same thing that he did for Anthony Rizzo in specific times during that World Series year. But yeah, I mean, this overall is a great deal for the Cubs. It's a win for the Cubs because we get a great player, we get his defense. Hopefully the bat kind of works its way out, gives David Ross somebody to work with, and if we can get Carlos Correa, that just makes us even better and kind of works with what we can do with our team. It's just, as a Cubs fan, nice to see the Ricketts finally wanting to spend and not just sell and everything like that. it's nice to actually see them want to win. But you guys let me know what you guys think down below. Moving on away from baseball, let's dive into hockey for the first time on the show, as the Colorado Avalanche have a huge injury to their team, as Nathan MacKinnon is going to be out. And I thought about talking about this, but I was like, at the time, I was like, oh, it's just an upper body injury. We don't know the specifics. Then as I was getting ready to record, boom, we get the specifics. He'll be out approximately 4 weeks after getting hit in the, I want to say he got hit in the wrist with a puck. He left the game against the Flyers, and now we're here. He'll be out for approximately 4 weeks. And the Avalanche are a team where, yes, 4 weeks isn't killer. We got, let's say he misses a month, we got a rest of the season for them to work with. However, I say this is a killer for the Avalanche because they're already a team that is dealing with injuries already. Not going to have a graphic for this because the quote is so small, but their coach, Jared Bernard, kind of said simply, this is probably as bad as I can remember when talking about all the guys that they have on the bench, in the locker room injured, compared to on the ice where you win the games. And to me, this is going to be the next 4 weeks. If, let's say, I'm saying worst case scenario, MacKinnon misses 4 weeks, this could be an important 4 weeks for the Avalanche of, can they step up? Coach also said, hey, you got to step up, next guy up kind of thing. You know, things that coaches say. But the reason why I say that is you've got some key games if you're the Avalanche, and you got some key teams kind of chasing you, because as of right now, the Avalanche sit, and like I said, we got a whole season to go. These 4 weeks aren't going to be make or break, but they sit in 4th place in the Central, and right now hold on to that last wild card spot in the West. I had to think about it. I was thinking NFC, AFC, that's football, but in the West when it comes to hockey. And I say that's important because they've got teams behind them. They sit right now at 27. The Flames are also at 27. You got the Preds at 26. You got the Canucks at 25. And then on the outside, but could be looking in, Blues at 22, Sharks at 20. They're kind of there, but I'm focusing more on those top 3 teams. And when you look at their next 4 weeks is going to be 13 games. It does, like, the optimism for Colorado isn't great. And the reason why I say that is they play their next game, they play the Bruins. They've already lost, like, the Bruins have been, to me, it's either them or the Devils have been the best team in hockey consistently to this point. And of course, I know teams can fade off, but right now you're looking, Bruins and Devils have been consistently 2 of the best teams, if not the best team, one of them in hockey. You get them, you already lost to them, and MacKinnon played 32 minutes in that game. Then you get the Rangers, both of these games being at home. Then the Blues on the road. If you lose that, you allow the Blues to get 3 points on you. Then you play the Flyers, who you lost to. MacKinnon left that game early in the first, so you lost to them without MacKinnon already. Then you have the Sabres, which should be a win, but you still got to play the game. Then you've got one of 2 matchups against the Preds, this one being at home. Then you play the Islanders, then the Canadiens, then 2 road games. The Preds, that'll be a tough one. Coyotes, we know how bad the Coyotes are. You should win that game. And then you end out with 3 home games, Kings, Maple Leafs, and Golden Knights. All of, like, the Kings, depends on what Kings team shows up. They win. I think tonight they won 5-1, but they played the Senators, who have also not been that good. But Leafs inconsistent, but still a good team. The Golden Knights, they are one of the better teams, a good team in the NHL. This is an important 13-game stretch because, like I said, you play the Preds twice, who are right on your tails. You play the Blues once, which I know, okay, that's only 1 game, but if the Blues then also win more than you, I don't think that that's a problem because the Blues have been historically, like, hot and cold. They'll go on a win streak, but then they'll go on a massive losing streak. So, like, I don't think the Blues is that much, but anything can kind of happen. I think the Flames, Preds, and Canucks, though, could kind of get ahead of the Avalanche in these 13. So this is going to be very important because if you fall out of this race too much, how much are you going to be playing catch up when Nathan MacKinnon comes back? It's going to be interesting to see how these 13 games go and where they're at. Season's not over. This is not a killer. MacKinnon should be back. Hopefully it's not longer than 4 weeks, but let me know what you guys think down below, especially Avalanche fans. Where is your optimism for these next 13 games? I want to hear from you guys specifically what you think your team is going to be able to do in the next 13 without Nathan MacKinnon on the ice. All right, let's break things up here. Let's go into a little short mini segment, as this one's not going to be super long. Before I start, sorry if during the last segment, if the camera got out of focus. My camera's doing a thing where it decides randomly, hey, we're gonna creatively add a little blur in here. My camera thinks that it can direct me while I'm doing these videos. So sorry if it got blurry. I just noticed it in between switching from the last segment to this segment. But the NBA decided to add a new trophy today. As I'm going to show it. I picked the wrong side anyway. It's going to be up here. I'm going to put it over this shoulder as they unveiled the Maurice Podoloff, I hope I'm saying that right, Podoloff Trophy. This is basically the new President's Trophy in the NBA. I'll be honest, just being frank about it, I think this is stupid. I think this is a stupid thing for the NBA to do. I know the NHL has a President's Trophy, but number one, does anyone really give a crap about the President's Trophy? And number two, all we talk about with the President's Trophy in the NHL is the person who wins it has the President's Trophy curse because that team usually doesn't win the Stanley Cup. I think this is just a participation award. It's a meaningless trophy that in the Discord, Jake Neverman said this is going to be a Doc Rivers special. Yeah, I don't like this trophy. I don't like the idea of it. And yeah, that's just it. I mean, first off with hockey, the reason they announced the President's Trophy is because prior to the President's Trophy being a thing, the team that won the best record in the regular season was allowed to hang a banner that said national, like NHL League champions. Then you had the Stanley Cup champions, which is why we have the Stanley Cup instead of just the NHL championship. Then they changed it to the President's Trophy. I know people have said this is the NBA wanting to go more towards soccer, but you know what would be a better idea? Introduce relegation so teams don't have to tank. That'd be a better one. That might be a good idea for a movie title or a movie idea, video idea that I do here. But yeah, let me know what I pointed the wrong way. Let me know what you think of this thing. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Am I overreacting to a participation trophy? Let me know what you guys think down below. All right, let's end the show with our last two stories, both happening in the NFL. First, we had the Dallas Cowboys this weekend. They met the last 2 days with Odell Beckham Jr., the prized wide receiver that everyone is talking about around this time because, hey, he's going to be coming back from an injury. Teams that are making a playoff run may need wide receiver help, and the Cowboys are one of those teams. However, news has come out that the team is unsure about whether to sign OBJ because, and I quote, his injury hasn't progressed enough for a mid-January return. That is the fear, that his rehab hasn't progressed enough for him to make a return in mid-January. And the quote that I have here before I give my ultimate opinion, 2 cents, is from Jerry Jones, and it says, it's a lot different if you play one play or if you played or are available for a week or that week be the Super Bowl week. Then if he's available the next week. And so everything in between, I would say that's a point of discussion. A player's own belief of where he is in becoming ready to play is real big. Now, my opinion on this, I listened to I think it was NFL Countdown or NFL Today, whatever ESPN's calling it now. And NFL Live, that's what they call it. I haven't watched it in years. That's why I forget the name. But I listened to Dan Orlowski. They also had Ryan Clark on as always. And They had two differing opinions. Ryan Clark said he would sign him. Dan Orlowski said he wouldn't sign him. At this point, I'm on the side of Dan Orlowski. I personally would not sign OBJ. Here is why. If you fear that he has not progressed enough for a mid-January return, that is the reason. If you are like, I'm not 100%, he's going to come back, I don't sign him. And the reason for this is I'm not spending money on you if I'm only going to get you for the Super Bowl. And the reason why I say that is it's not a lock that the Cowboys make the Super Bowl. It's not a lock that any team in the NFC makes the Super Bowl. I know that on NFL Live they mentioned, and Dan Orlowski did say this, that, if I'm the Chiefs and the Bills, I sign them regardless. Well, the reason why that is because the Bills and the Chiefs are, we think, everyone thinks anything could happen, but those two teams are pretty much locks for the AFC Championship in many teams' minds, and one of those teams is probably going to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. That's why if I'm the Chiefs, if I'm the Bills, it really doesn't concern me. Hell, if you show up for the Super Bowl, that'd be great because we can get there without you. The Cowboys aren't in this position. They need OBJ, in my opinion, to be there for every playoff game, or at least the divisional round, the conference championship, and the Super Bowl. And the reason why I say this is right now, if the playoffs started today, the Cowboys would host the Buccaneers in the first round. Well, they wouldn't host. They'd go to Tampa Bay because, Tampa's the 4 and Dallas would be the 5. So they're going to Tampa Bay. That's a game that, yes, anything can happen any given Sunday, but I would favor the Cowboys in that game. The Bucs have, I know they won last night. They needed a miraculous comeback against the Saints, and their whole division sucks. They haven't been that good. They're a 500 team that's going to limp into the playoffs. I would pick the Cowboys to win that matchup against the Buccaneers. It's after that the questions come, because as I have here my little playoff prediction machine, the Cowboys are most likely going to play either Minnesota or Philly. And the reason why I say that is the other matchups would be the Niners versus the Giants, and then the Vikings versus the Seahawks. Now, being a Vikings fan, the Seahawks could come into Minnesota and win. The Vikings are not a unbeatable juggernaut. However, I would favor the Vikings in that game, and in the other game, because of the Jimmy Garoppolo injury, and yes, I know things can now change. There's news out today that Garoppolo may be able to return for a playoff push, but let's say right now he doesn't, because we don't know what's going to happen. If Jimmy Garoppolo's not out there, the Giants could win that game. Like, none of these games in the NFC right now are like, the Niners aren't a juggernaut that would just run over the Giants. If the Giants have a good game, they could beat the Niners, and I could see the Seahawks beating the Vikings if they have a good game. Neither of them are unbeatable to 100% locks. So most likely, I think that they play either Philly or Minnesota, because they'll play Philly if the 49ers and the Vikings would win. They play the Vikings if the, Giants were able to upset the Niners. However, there is a scenario that if New York and Seattle both win, that they would play New York in Dallas, I believe that would be. They'd play New York in Dallas, which would be a very favorable matchup. They could probably win that game without OBJ. That's why I think they need OBJ, though, because, Philly is a team that I think I would give Philly the upper edge. Minnesota, okay, I'll say it. They could probably beat Minnesota without OBJ, too. However, it'd be really nice to have him in that game. But the Giants also. So maybe the divisional round, just because if the Niners and Vikings win, you're playing Philly, and I would give Philly the upper hand. Then the NFC Championship game, yet again, you play Philly. Let's say you don't play them divisional, you play Philly. I would give Philly the upper hand. Then, okay, you may be playing a Giants team. Oh, maybe they're on a run. Oh, maybe you're playing a Vikings team. Maybe they're on the run. None of these NFC teams are juggernauts that, they're going to run through it. That's what I think. That's why I want the most out of OBJ. Now, if you're talking about signing him for this year and next year, that's a different story. But yeah, the Giants, I just feel like for this year alone, you don't have enough to know that he's going to be there for most of your playoff games, because there's a chance then you sign him, he's ready for the Super Bowl, but guess what? You needed him a week before, and you lost in the conference championship, or you lost in the divisional round, and you didn't even get to use him. Last thing we're going to talk about today is we talked yesterday about the Carolina Panthers releasing Baker Mayfield. Well, it doesn't seem like he's even going to make it to free agency, as the Los Angeles Rams, almost said St. Louis Rams. Wow, that's a time machine. But the LA Rams go ahead and claim Baker Mayfield off of waivers. From what I read today, there's a chance that he will be in LA, they said by tonight or tomorrow, and there's a chance that he plays Thursday night for the Rams because of how bad the Rams need a quarterback. Couple things about this. Number one, does this save the Rams season? No, it does not. And the reason why I say that, they are 5 games out of the playoffs, 4 games out of the playoffs. Regardless, there's 5 games left. No team's going to lose 5 games. They're going to be eliminated either this week or next week, mathematically. That's just going to be what happens. So this is not going to save their season. However, I do have 2 points about this. Number one, this is a tryout for Baker Mayfield. And the reason why I say that is yesterday I mentioned that if I was most teams, I would not sign Baker Mayfield because of the chemistry and maybe the bad juju that he brings to a locker room. However, the one thing I did not think about, because I didn't think the Rams were in a possibility to even want Baker Mayfield, because they're, to me, out of the playoff race and not going to make the playoffs, they're a team that could possibly stomach it for the rest of the year. And, of course, there's now an option that, from what I hear, they can now get a conditional pick in this if he plays enough snaps for them. So, to me, it's no risk, all reward for the Rams. Hey, you get Baker Mayfield a little bit, you see how he does. If he does well, boom, could be maybe your backup next year. But for Baker, this is a tryout, if not for the Rams, for the rest of the NFL. Because the NFL right now does not think highly of you. If you can go into the Rams, first off, play well, but then secondly, you can come in and show, hey, I'm not the locker room cancer that y'all think I am, that'll be good for him. It'll reset an image a little bit of like, hey, it was Carolina that was the problem. I am not the problem. It was Carolina. It was Cleveland. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not, but hey, we'll see what happens. Here's the other thing I think about this, and this is the more interesting, maybe a little speculative side of Ricky. Let's speculate a little bit here. And I think what this also means, I know that Crazy Town, or close to my Crazy Town, there's been people saying, oh, the Rams did this just so the Niners couldn't get, they couldn't get Baker Mayfield. I don't think that's the reason. It'd be cool if it was. I would love if Sean McVay and the Rams came out and basically said, yeah, we did it so San Fran couldn't. And just, gave him the bird or something. But I don't think that's the reason. The thing I'm speculating on here, I think there's more to this Matthew Stafford spinal contusion injury than we all think. The reason why I say that is this is an injury that usually takes takes enough time. You need months sometimes to heal a spinal contusion. And based off this, some of them I know spinal contusions, this is non-sports wise, this is just in general. Some of them take 6 months to a year in order to heal. So there's a part of me that thinks, does this mean the Rams don't think Stafford will be ready for next year and are doing this as, hey, is this a tryout for us to re-sign him and then let Baker be the starter next year, maybe moving forward? It's just a crazy idea I have. Maybe this Matthew Stafford injury, there's more to it than we think, and this is why they're doing it as a contingency plan because they have a good team, they have a good roster, they want to go back to more Super Bowls. Well, you kind of need a quarterback to do that. So maybe this is the experiment that they are doing. But as always, like everything else on the show, let me know what you guys think down below about the Baker Mayfield, the OBJ, the NBA President's Trophy. I know that's not what it's called, but that's basically what it is, as well as the Nathan MacKinnon and the Cody Bellinger stuff that we talked about today. Remember, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you loved it, hit that sub button. If you want to keep in the know about everything going on here at MVP Sports, go ahead and hit that notification bell. Also, I will say on our Patreon page and on this channel, I've kind of changed around the memberships. Now have 2 membership options. The basic membership option that just gives you kind of the basic perks. You can check them out at the Patreon page. And then the plus membership option that gives you everything the basic does, plus any videos that are like my mock drafts or my trade tree videos. You get those a week before everyone else. You get to see them a week before everybody else. So check those out if you would like to. But regardless of that, thank you guys for watching this video. I will catch y'all tomorrow. And as always, have a good day, everybody.